Nature is filled with fascinating wonders, and trees are no exception. Around the world, some trees stand out, not only for their beauty, but also for their extraordinary forms and functions. Trees come in all shapes and sizes after all, and some of them are very weird and so outlandish that you might not even be sure if they really sprang from Earth's soil or some distant planet. Here are the 20 most unusual trees you won't believe exist. But if you enjoy this type of video, support us with a like and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get started. Dragon blood tree. Dracena cinnabari belongs to the family Asparagaceae and is native to the Socotra Island, Yemen. It has red-colored sap which gives an appearance of bleeding when injured. Although it is a relatively useful tree and no harmful effect has been seen, some literature suggests it may be an important medicine in ancient times. Unfortunately, the future of the tree is threatened by climate change as the Socotra archipelago continues to dry out. The walking palm. Since childhood, we have been taught that plants are stationary living organisms. However, nature surprises again with an extraordinary plant that can walk. The plant is Socrate axoretsa, also known as the walking palm. It is said that the tree moves around 20 meters every year. It's a genus of 5 species of palms found in tropical Central America and South America. This tree can be found in Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama. But how does this tree exactly walk? This tree walks because of its unique root system, which is a stilt root similar to a mangrove. Unlike other plants, it develops a set of aerial roots that do not have a complete underground root system. Wisteria tree, Japan. Highly sought after to grace gardens for its romanticized aesthetic appeal, this beautiful flowering tree is actually a member of the pea family. With the longest flowering racemes of any wisteria, the tree's flowers come in a variety of vibrant colors such as white, pink, violet, and blue. Chandelier tree. This famous drive-through tree is a coastal redwood located in Legat, California. It stands 96 meters tall and more than 6 meters across. The tree is estimated to be 2,000 years old. It's known as the chandelier tree because of its large branches that hang on either side. So if you can stand on your head, you'll get the chandelier effect. The forest where it lives is also home to some of the tallest trees on Earth. Baobab trees, Madagascar. Perhaps you read The Little Prince as a child and are familiar with the name, but most are probably not able to easily recognize this oddly shaped African native. The more uniquely shaped of this species is the teapot baobab, which has a fire-resistant trunk that can store great amounts of water. Poland's crooked forest. Near the town of Gryfino in western Poland, a bizarre group of pine trees grow with a deep curve at their base. The 400 or so J-shaped trees exist in a forest of regular, straight-standing pine. The mystery of the bent trees remains unsolved, but it's believed the trees date back to the 1930s. Banyan tree. It's hard to imagine that a tree like this, which can grow up to 200 meters wide and 30 meters high, begins as a strangling fig. The banyan tree starts small, growing on other trees before eventually enveloping them entirely. Big leathery leaves hang down from its many trunks, making it an ideal tree for shade. The banyan tree can be found in India, Pakistan, and Southeast Asia, where its bark, seeds, and sap are used for medicinal purposes. Snow-covered trees in Lapland. Winter lasts more than half a year in Lapland, a northern region that stretches across Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Russia. The pine and spruce trees that dot the region are generally indistinguishable when completely covered in snow, appearing more like giants frozen in time under a cloak of white. Toborachi tree. Also called the bottle tree, this funny-shaped tree is covered in thorny spikes during its early years to discourage predators. In its native South America, there is a legend that the beautiful bride of the hummingbird god Colibri hid inside one of these trees to give birth to her son to keep him safe from evil spirits. Although her son lived, she remained in the tree where she died. It is said that when the tree blossoms with bright pink flowers that are loved by hummingbirds, the goddess is emerging to greet her husband. Rainbow eucalyptus. No, those are not graffiti-covered trees. Found natively in the Northern Hemisphere in locales such as New Guinea and New Britain, these multi-hued beauties are grown around the world in plantations for its pulpwood used in papermaking. Jaboticaba tree. After looking at the video, you might be surprised to know that this tree is not all covered with some kind of strange parasite. Native to Brazil, the fruit of this bizarre tree, often compared to grapes, grows out of the trunk instead of the tree's branches. Jacaranda tree. These gorgeous trees with long-lasting blue-purple blooms can be seen in gardens and landscapes all around the world. Extracts from the tree's wood combined with water have been known to help resist staph infections and E. coli. Sandbox trees. Sandbox trees want to kill you. Okay, maybe that's not entirely true, but they are very big, very pointy, and very explosive? Sandbox trees can reach heights of over 200 feet, and their trunks are covered with pointed spines. Like the Baobab, not a joy to try climbing. The weirdest thing about this tree is its seed pods. They are pumpkin-shaped capsules that, when ripe, literally explode, shooting its seeds at up to 160 miles per hour over a range of hundreds of feet. Oh yeah, and its sap was used by native people to make poison arrowheads. So again, sandbox trees want to kill you. Weird. Traveler's tree. Like a giant peacock feather, the traveler's tree rises from the ground on a narrow stalk and fans out its leaves like plumage, which can hold rainwater in their natural vial shape and provide a drink to needy travelers. Although purification is recommended. Related to the bird of paradise flower, the giant fans, which orient themselves so reliably on the east-west line they're sent to work as a compass, also feature a white version of the characteristic bird bill-shaped flower seen on its floral cousin, and large turquoise seeds which are unique to this tree. Isolated on the island of Madagascar, the tree co-evolved with the ruffed lemur, which it attracted to disperse its seeds by growing them in one of only two colors the lemur can see, blue and green. Baobab prison tree. Looking like a discarded set piece from a Tim Burton film, the Baobab prison tree grows in Western Australia. Its name comes from the local folklore that its trunk was used as a prison for native Australians by European settlers who were taking over the land. The story has been largely debunked. The Aboriginal people don't share it in their history, but still, this bizarre-looking Baobab remains a tourist attraction for its weird shape alone. The chained oak. Located in Alton, England, the chained oak gets its weirdness from the legend of its shackled origin. According to the story, when a 19th century earl refused to give a woman financial assistance, she put a curse on the tree. For every branch that fell, a member of his family would die. As it happened, maybe, a branch did fall soon after and coincided with an unexpected death in the earl's family. He ordered the tree's branches to be chained up in order to prevent his family's demise. Whether the legend is true or not, what we have to this day is a weird old oak that's blinged out like a Marley brother. After all, the chained oak is British. General Sherman tree. Sequoia trees are generally considered the world's largest living things. Let that superlative sink in for a moment. And 4 of the 5 largest of those can be found in giant forest in California's Sequoia National Park. There are trees taller than the General Sherman tree, which rises 274.9 feet. There are trees with more thickness, a 102.6-foot circumference, but there are none with a more impressive combination of the two. At 52,500 cubic feet of wood, it is simply the world's largest living thing. You'd flex too, and it's still growing. Now that's something to root for. Methuselah is the oldest tree in the world. The oldest known living thing is a Great Basin bristlecone pine in the White Mountains of California named Methuselah. A drill core sample measured with annual ring counting led scientists to estimate its age at 5,060 years in 2012. The tree is named after a figure of the Old Testament, grandfather to Noah, who was 969 when he died. The Tree of Life. You know when something is weird simply because it looks at a place. Well, Bahrain's Tree of Life most definitely has that going for it. It is over 400 years old and is almost the only thing growing in the area, which receives virtually no rainfall and has no water source. There are several theories about how it's able to survive. Science points to the conclusion that its incredibly deep roots are somehow able to access water deep below the surface. More mystically, however, some claim that the tree is the site of the Garden of Eden, providing it with an otherworldly ability to thrive. Whatever the reason, the Tree of Life remains a weirdly beautiful spectacle in an otherwise barren landscape. Carnivorous plant. Apart from these, there are many carnivorous plants that feed on a wide range of small insects, aquatic worms, etc. Example of which are Utricularia, bladderworts, Nepenthes, pitcher plant, Dionia, Venus flytrap. They have interesting body design as well. The Venus flytrap is the most famous of all carnivorous plants due to the active and effective nature of its unique traps. It may be famous, but it's also threatened. The plant's two-hinged leaves are covered in ultra-sensitive fine hairs that detect the presence of everything from ants to arachnids. Trigger the hairs and snap. The trap will shut in less than a second. And that brings us to the end of this video. Please support us by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and turning on notifications so you don't miss any updates. Thank you, best of followers!